With August coming at the end of this week, the big question is August going to be an explosive month for the crypto market? Well, Trump recently negotiated a massive trade deal with the EU. It seems tariffs aren't causing the big inflation experts predicted, and with the big White House crypto policy report dropping tomorrow, I for one am feeling optimistic. So in this video, we're trying to find out, is August going to be another explosive month? And we'll be coming at it from 3 different angles. What normally happens in August for the general stock market? Is it good? Is it bad? What normally happens in August for Bitcoin and Ethereum? Is it good? Is it bad? And then what normally happens in August in the previous cycles at this point. Okay, first up, let's start with the big picture, the S&P 500. And in general, is August a good month or bad month for risk assets? Okay, so this time we're jumping in to the seasonality of the S&P 500, as it's a good gauge for risk assets. Generally, if stocks are doing really well, then crypto does too, and also vice versa. So in this big mesh of red and green, what are these numbers saying? Well, we've got pretty much 15 years worth of data. This is January all the way through to December, how much it did by the end of the year. And a very quick way of looking is just at the average. On average, this is how they perform month by month. So the thing that suddenly jumps out is that August and September, you can see, are the weakest months. So a lot more red in this month in general, going from Q2 to Q3. So this would suggest that yes, August isn't going to be the best month. However, there is one caveat, and it has to do with crypto's full year cycle, as the big blow-off years in crypto, if you remember, happen in the post-halving year, which is this year, 2025, last one being 2021 was the big blow-off year, and 2017 being the big blow-off year. And if we go back too far, I generally don't really like looking at the 2013 cycle, as this is when Bitcoin was around $1, and it was just ridiculously volatile. So taking this into consideration, August isn't a great month. However, when you look at 2021, it was in fact a very strong year in August. And then jumping to 2017, again, it was a positive month. Did I say year? I meant month. And then definitely September is the weakest month overall, suggesting there is going to be a correction, but maybe towards the end of August and into September. Next up, we have Bitcoin, and pretty much the same thing, and we get the averages and also the median at the bottom here. So in general, these double plus months are very strong, and then there's a negative average here for June, but a plus in the median. Now, when it comes to August, we can see there is a plus, but also a negative 8%, and then September being double negative. And in fact, is that the only double negative for the entire year? Yep, so we can say on average, September is in fact the worst month for Bitcoin, and August can be hit and miss. So although there is more red than green, something that's interesting is that if we look at 2021, it is a very strong month here. And if we go back to 2017, look at that, 65% for Bitcoin. So this pretty much backs up the same thing from the S&P 500, and probably it's red the following month, and 2021 red the following month. So far backing up that August could be good with the correction September. Then if we look at Ethereum, which is good for Ethereum, but also may be an indication for the altcoin market, what do we see down here? Q1 is generally very strong, April very strong, May, there's a double negative for June, and double negative for September. And again, it's mixed for August. And if we take a look, 2021 again was a very, very strong month. 2017, very strong month. And it's the following month is a massive correction. 2021, following month, a massive correction. So it's a repeating pattern that August indicates it's going to be very, very good towards the end of August, and September being the big correction month. Now, let's just cross-reference this with some key dates for this month. Jumping into the August calendar, and this is where we're at right now. As I mentioned, towards the end of this week on Friday, this is where August kicks in, and not a lot of major events going on in August. We do have CPI on the 12th. We do have the PCE again at the very end. However, it's pretty much all front-loaded into this week. I think this week is really going to set up August. So I'm hearing on the grapevine that the big crypto policy report, which is literally about 3 or 4 months in the making, coming directly from the White House, is going to drop tomorrow. This potentially is a very big catalyst. We also will see Jerome Powell, and let's be honest, he's probably going to keep rates the same tomorrow. We do have PCE, so this is important. We just need to make sure that inflation is not spiking super high because of tariffs. So a massive drop in inflation would obviously be great. A big spike could really mess things up. We do have the ISM then on the 1st. We have the tariff deadline. This is probably going to cause a lot of uncertainty as well. So a lot going on over the next few days. There's also the jobs report, but for the last few months, this has really done nothing to the market. So for the month of August, it looks like the next few days, a lot of action is taking place. Now, just a heads up on PCE, we can check in with Trueflation and see what it's saying. So it's going to be the June reading. And from the CPI point of view, going from May to June was a big increase. So there's a potential warning sign there. However, if you didn't know, Trueflation has now launched a PCE index as well. So this should be more accurate for what's coming later in the week. And it's the PCE report for June. And we can see going from May to June, although there's a big spike, there's a bit of a drop here. The trend is a little bit higher. So probably expecting PCE to rise a little bit, but as long as it's not too much, hopefully this won't cause any problems. And then finally, cross-referencing this with what happens at this point in previous cycles, July, August, and September, it's this action going on here. So let's just zoom in a little bit. And what do we see? Well, in fact, we are a little bit ahead of the average. So this actually can come down a little bit, which is probably what we've been seeing over the past week. Now, when it comes to August, which is here, so there is also a drop at the end of July going into August. However, August historically is going to be a very strong month. So should be exploding onto new highs if history repeats. And then going into September, September is where we would get the big correction month here. So this also backs up with what we saw in the S&P 500, what we saw with the Bitcoin seasonality, and what we saw with Ethereum as well. If history repeats, August is in fact going to be a very strong month post-halving year with a big correction in September. Then we can chat about hold on to your hats for Q4, which could be a little bit cray-cray. With August coming up at the end of this week, the big question was, is August going to be an explosive month for the crypto market? Historically, for the S&P 500, August is a negative month, however, not in 2021 or 2017. Again, for Bitcoin and Ethereum, August is one of the weakest months of the year, however, not in 2021 or 2017. And looking back at the previous cycles, August is in fact an explosive month for the crypto market, with September being the major pullback. So there are guys, hope you enjoyed. And so if history repeats, then August will be an excellent month for crypto, with September being the big correction month. However, take all this with a pinch of salt, as the crypto market often likes to do the opposite. If you do have any burning questions, then simply use super thanks below. However, just remember, to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments, we are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use super thanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.